collective. And yes, when you go into and have a session there, especially as a medium, you will have to have safety precautions. Like, I can't go through and channel anybody under 18 without a written consent from their parent. So I have to know what your birthday is. Sorry, because I can get in legal trouble. The other thing too is that I am not into, as a medium, I am not into just telling you that there are spirits around you and they love you. I want to get concrete proof for you that your loved ones exist and they are there. I want to have the best connection I can possibly get. Remember, if you go through and you have a session with me and you say, just see who comes through, it will be amazing. They will come through. It may be that I'm channeling in a higher vibrational state that day. So all of your heavenly spirits are going to come through. Your grandmother, your mom, depends what vibration they're in. If at the very end of our 30-minute session, I always say 15 minutes per spirit. If the end of your 30-minute session, you're like, oh, well, I was really hoping somebody else would come through. And I'm like, who? You tell me, Chris. I start feeling in my higher vibrational state. That's all about tuning into a radio station. You should know that. And I don't feel them there, I start bringing myself down. Oh, and I find Chris. He ended up unaliving himself. He's your boyfriend from 10 years ago. You're remarried and you were already broken up at that time. The person that's going to come through first is your mother that passed of breast cancer.
So, a few things. First and foremost, I am not saying that this person does not have mediumship capabilities. I actually believe that they do. And this is probably somebody who's been doing it longer than me. Take that for what it's worth. However, I strongly disagree with a few things that are said there. One, yes, it is true that if somebody is under the age of 18, there should be consent from a parent or guardian. That is important. However, filling out an intake form with information, no. Specific date of birth needing to be documented on paperwork before a reading takes place? No. There are ways around that, and letting somebody know, hey, I cannot read for somebody under the age of 18 without consent. That paperwork could be given at the moment that the reading begins to ensure privacy and ensure that the medium has no additional information about you. So it can be set up to say, I'm making sure you understand that if you do not provide that to me at the moment that we begin our session, I will have to cancel. I will not read for you. If somebody is asking for pictures or names of loved ones that you'd like to connect to before you are on your actual reading, no, do not book, because Google and social media can bring up a lot of information for somebody who knows how to find it. Now, I actually really don't know how to find it, but I will never, ever, 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 ever ask for information before we connect. In fact, I would prefer, if in as many cases as possible, somebody books with a brand new fake email or someone else's email address with a fake name. I actually, not too long ago, had a psychic reading booked with somebody who used a different email address, a different name that was attached to that email address, and told me about 3 minutes before a phone call, a different phone number that they wanted me to actually call. Perfect. Absolutely perfect, because then you know beyond the shadow of a doubt, if we connect, that information that I am getting is for you, because prepping before the actual reading, I am prepping with the individual and their energy and their guides and their past loved ones who's coming to me for that reading that day. That is the intention that is set. So I do not want or need any information from you or about you or anything else before we connect that day. Secondly, if you have loved ones who have passed from their own purposeful actions, they are not low vibrational. They are not lower vibrational on the other side. In my personal experience, there is no circumstance where somebody has had to change hands because Walter wants to be part of this. There is no circumstance in which somebody that you loved and cared about, still love and care about, has passed where the form in which they passed, the way in which they passed, creates a vibrational stage on the other side that keeps them separate from other people. In my experience, in my view, that is sort of probably linked to like some sort of religious deconstruction or preconceived notion or personal bias around individuals who have passed that way. I have done readings where I have the first person to come through is someone who had taken things into their own hands, and that is the way in which they had passed. There is no coming up and going down in vibration that I have ever had to do in order to connect to someone who has passed from different ways in which they passed. A reading is what you need, may not always be what you're looking for, asking for, and wanting. It is what you need. So if your loved ones know that you need to hear from someone who had taken purposeful steps, that is who will come through, all on their own. I've also had readings where I've had everyone else step on through and bring through information, and then at the end have asked, is there anybody else that you would like me to attempt? Because sometimes in those circumstances, I've only had a very, very few times where I've not been able to get some sort of connection and validation. Usually, those other individuals have kind of come in and opened the door, and they help bring further loved ones through. If a spirit who has passed has chosen to put themselves in other circumstances to heal their own soul, or to kind of like work through their life review in a certain, plane on the other side, I have had circumstances where somebody has provided information that sounds as though they have made that choice. Their soul, their higher self has made that choice to review and heal in a particular way through a particular plane. But really, that's their choice if they want to do it. It's not because what I'm trying to say, I guess, is they're not being punished by being forced into a lower vibrational plane on the other side just because of either the things that they have done in their earthly existence or because of the way they crossed over. So please understand, again, not saying that these are things being told by people who do not have mediumship abilities, because I believe they actually do in many ways. But in my personal point of view, it is being presented in a way that it sounds like personal bias is coming into play. And I don't want ever any kind of intake form that gives me a whole bunch of detail about you. Best case scenario is that you give as absolutely little as possible before you have a reading, whether it's a psychic reading, whether it's a healing of any sort, or a mediumship reading. It's not necessary.